Folks, I didn't do any videos yesterday. Basically, I reviewed all of the Sunday morning talk shows, and there really wasn't anything earth-shattering as far as I'm concerned in any of the shows. So I really didn't feel it was time-worthy to devote any video footage to the shows yesterday. But excuse me, this morning I went on and watched, as I usually do, News One Now, and I gotta tell you, I agree with Roland Martin a lot of the time, but the show that he did in this particular segment, he was dead wrong. Now, let me start from the beginning. I was pissed off that Keith Ellison lost that vote, and honestly, it wasn't even close. And the only thing that prevented him from losing on the first ballot was a certain number of delegates had maintained their votes for people other than himself and Tom Perez. When the handwriting was so obviously on the wall, they left, and that basically gave the position to Perez. Now, it seems to me like all these people that voted for Perez are stuck on stupid. And I know that's being a bit derogatory, but in my opinion, they are stuck on stupid. The people that basically, in my opinion, voted for Tom Perez voted for the status quo as far as the Democratic Party is concerned. These people voted for a man who basically is in the Obama-Clinton camp, the establishment camp, the go chase these giant donors and give lip service to everybody else camp. Now, it is true that Tom Perez, when he worked in the Department of Justice, did, quite a bit in helping to reconstitute the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice, which is all going to go in the toilet with Jefferson Beauregard Sessions sitting in the Attorney General's seat. So whatever accomplishments he made are going to be fairly short-lived. But at the same time, I stated he was in the Obama camp. This guy was fourscore for the TPP. And that is one thing that all Democrats, including Clinton, finally, she came and saw the light, were against. But this guy was a big proponent of it. And his defense was, well, his boss liked it. Nah, that's bullshit. You could have said that you were following your boss's directive because he did like it, but you never voiced your opinion on not liking it, and you probably should have pressed Obama harder not to go through with it. Well, anyway, it's dead now, so that's neither here nor there. But Keith Ellison was attacked left, right, up, and down as far as his quote-unquote supposed anti-Semitic positions, which that was a bunch of bullshit. And he had a bunch of Jewish organizations that were backing him. He had, obviously, the Bernie Sanders wing that was backing him. And he even had Keith Schumer backing him. But apparently, the people that were backing him were in insufficient numbers. It didn't mean a damn thing that they saw the light and knew that we have to go in a different direction with different people and open up the wings so that the traditional people that would support us would feel welcome again. Tom Perez is not going to do that. Now, I'm going to play the clip, and then I'm going to tell you, I got ticked off at Roland Martin because he couldn't see the light. He kept harping about winning local elections and winning the spots that go to the DNC, et cetera, et cetera. No, that's a bunch of bullshit. He missed the forest for the damn trees. You could elect anybody you want, okay? All the Bernie Sanders people, obviously they could see, but it's not a question of the Bernie Sanders people all getting those positions in order to get Ellison elected. The point of the matter was the people that were elected and voting needed to see that we needed to go in a different direction, not the same old direction. But more than likely, either they're in positions of power of some type and want to maintain it, and don't feel that they will be able to maintain it by going in a different direction, or something else. It's just, like I said, they can't see the forest for the trees. It's a fool who does the same thing over and over again and expects a different result. Going with Tom Perez, even though he's the first Hispanic voted as chairman of the DNC, is, in my opinion, just a move in the same direction. And it was just lip service that he put Keith Ellison in as a co-chair. In my opinion, that's basically just symbolic, and it was, I guess, a olive branch out to the Bernie supporter, Bernie Sanders supporters. But if he doesn't have any real power, any real authority, which he won't, because he can obviously be overruled in anything that he wants to do by the chairman, it's a bunch of crap. It might have worked the other way around with Ellison in position and having Tom Perez. And honestly, I wouldn't have even put Tom Perez in that co-chair position. I would have picked the mayor from South Bend, Indiana. I wanted him up in there. I probably would have wanted one of the ladies that was there. I think I can't remember her name, and possibly Jamie Harrison. But the jury, as far as I'm concerned, is way still out on him. But that election basically is going to, in my opinion, cast a further divide within the Democratic Party, because you got the Bernie wing, and they ain't going anywhere, and that's your militant wing of the Democratic Party. And if things don't go the way that they want them to go, they will have no problem casting out on their own. And there's already calls for a militant wing of the Democrats. I guess they're calling themselves Democrats for Justice. They're trying to create their own wing. So we're going to see. But anyway, here's the segment from Roland Martin. And again, he, in my opinion, doesn't get it. He keeps talking about electing your representatives in. Yeah, that is true. You can, in fact, elect your representatives in. But wouldn't it be faster if people actually realized that we had to do something different and change direction to put new leadership into the positions immediately so that we could get to work to try to do something about this year, 2017, 2018, and 2020? I don't know. Anyway, Lauren Victoria Burke gave him all he wanted, and she was not going to be quiet. And that's one of the problems with Roland in this show. If he thinks that he's right, he's going to try to shout down everybody.
In Atlanta, Democrats elected a new chair of the Democratic National Committee. They chose former Labor Secretary Tom Perez over Congressman Keith Ellison, a 235-200 vote. Did not make Ellison voters happy. Of course, he was also backed big time by Senator Bernie Sanders. Perez immediately moved to suspend the rules and name Ellison vice chair of the party. Of course, Donald Trump, he also weighed in with a tweet. Congratulations to Thomas Perez, he goes by Tom, who has just been named chairman of the DNC. I could not be happier for him or for the Republican Party. And he then later, of course, tried to say the election was rigged and that's why they lost. Lord, please take this man's damn phone. And then Tom Perez tweeted back, Call me Tom. To tweet back to Trump, call me Tom, and don't get too happy. Keith Ellison and and Democrats united across the country will be your worst nightmare. Joining us right now, folks, a couple of guests. One is Cornell Belcher, top Democratic pollster, who joins us. Also, Jordan Sheridan. He, of course, is a reporter with the Young Turks. First, to you, Cornell. What is the path forward for Tom Perez trying to rebuild the party, not nationally, but really on the state level? More than 1,000 seats were lost under the tenure of President Barack Obama.
Good morning, and thanks for having me on. I think the path forward is, Perez has got to be a little bit of former Chairman Terry McAuliffe, now Governor McAuliffe, and former Chair Howard Dean. And what I say by that is Terry was, or Governor McAuliffe now, was very good at raising money and helping to build. Governor Dean, as you know, was very good and instrumental at building the 50-state strategy, getting down to the state and local level, very grassroots neighbor program. What you've seen over the last 8 years is, in fact, the Democratic Party not putting resources, not putting time and people in the ground across the country, particularly at the sort of the local level, where you have to win some of the local elections in order for you to win at the federal level. So a lot of people complain, especially in the states, that the party has really rotted at the local level, and the party now must be rebuilt. So Perez has got to raise a lot of money, and he's got to do a lot of organizing.
Jordan, you were not happy at all. You were a big Bernie Sanders supporter. You were blasting the selection of Tom Perez.
Yeah, it's just that same old record spinning. It seems like not a lot was learned from the defeat in November. All you hear about with Tom Perez and the DNC race is the 50-state strategy. We got to reboot the states, but if you don't have the policies right, if you don't have excitement, particularly among young people, it doesn't really matter if you have the mechanical or the structures right, or you galvanize more money. I think that Tom Perez really represents the establishment insider wing, and that's not going to get out the millennials that supported Bernie Sanders or middle-aged to older people that supported Bernie Sanders. This was a moment to really go in a different direction, and they stayed the course.
But Cornell?
All right, and he's exactly right. Because Hillary Clinton outspent Donald Trump at least 1.5 to 1. Money in major elections does not always win. And in the last couple of elections, it hasn't won. Democrats have outspent the Republicans during the last 2, and make it 3, election cycles. Okay? Now, Obama won, obviously. He beat Clinton. She outspent him. And then he turned around and beat John McCain. And then 2010, the Democrats across the board, across the country, outspent the Republicans. They still lost. 2012, Obama won, but again, across the country, Democrats lost. It's not a question of money. It's a question of getting, number one, having topics and issues that you're on the right side of and that the people agree with you on, and 2, getting the vote out. Actually, and number 3, paying attention. And the Democrats, for the last 8 years, basically have been asleep at the switch, and they have basically walked away from their own base. So that's why we are where we are. You had people out there that were looking for a home, and the Democrats didn't have the open sign out, whereas Trump was talking a good game, and he hung that sign out, and people just came. And on the Democratic side, people just decided, they decided to stay home. That's basically what a lot of people did.
When you look at, it's interesting because on the other hand, you have people who say Tom Perez had a strong record as labor secretary. Others say that he was a strong advocate for civil rights when he served in the Department of Justice. So which is it?
It's kind of mind-boggling to me, and I do respect those who are frustrated, but it's kind of mind-boggling to me, because if you look at the Democratic Party right now, And if you look at the policy of the Democratic Party right now, you can't. It's kind of hard to argue that the Democratic Party is not a progressive place. And if you look at where Tom Perez is, and you look at where Ellison was on 99% of all the important sort of issues that are important to young people and important to old people as well across this country, there's not an inch of difference between the two, right? And
Now, okay, I like Cornell Belcher, but he just lied, okay? And I don't know if he's lied in order to try to maintain or get into a better position with the DNC or not. I don't know, but there is a ton of difference as far as the issues that Tom Perez and Keith Ellison have. There's a ton of difference, and a couple of them are going to be mentioned towards the end of this particular clip.
quite frankly, the chair of the party is not in fact the politics. The chair of the party is a builder and a fundraiser, and yes, they have to sort of give the voice and the values of the party. But I doubt very seriously that there is a policy perspective.
So will that be the vice chair?
That's important to young people. That is not important to Perez. Look, we can't always win, right? But right now we have to come together and fight an existential threat to our democracy and Donald Trump and what his movement is, and Perez will do that.
Okay, so if you don't like Tom Perez, who would you like to see get the chairmanship?
Jordan?
Keith Ellison, I think, and I disagree with Cornell on that, because one of the biggest reasons we always lose in midterms is young people don't vote. Young people tend to vote in actual presidential election years, but not the midterms. You just galvanize, well, not you, but Bernie Sanders and the progressive movement just galvanized millions of young people, and 4 or 5 months later, you're basically leaving them on the doorstep.
But Jordan, I got to ask you this here. Here's the whole deal, okay? So if that's the case, that's young people asking Democrats, can you please do this? This is why you run for county chair and county positions. This is why you run for state positions.
No, Roland. Okay, you can run for those positions, but this is why you point out the fallacies of the previous operations and previous directions. You point those fallacies out and you make a decision to go in a new direction. See, Roland's putting everything on people running and getting into office. You don't put everything on that. What you want to put a lot of your eggs in the basket of people realizing that mistakes were made and that new directions need to be moved in. That's where you put your eggs. You have to learn from your mistakes, not necessarily, we made mistakes, so I'm going to keep going, and in order for there to be a change, I'm going to have to get voted out. No, I learn from my mistakes and I change. I go in a different direction, and that's where Roland lost me as far as supporting him in this particular issue.
Some folks who support Bernie Sanders were not going to just take over the party in a matter of months. Look, in 1984, Reverend Jackson did the exact same thing. 1988, Reverend Jackson did the exact same thing.
See, okay, he's talking about two different things. Reverend Jackson was a maverick. Okay, obviously, he's black and trying to obtain the nomination for the presidency. That's a whole different story. This is not, at this point, pushing for a black president. This is pushing for a change in direction. This is pushing for inclusiveness as far as all of the Democrats are concerned. Jackson was trying to overcome obvious racial bias. Two different topics. Okay, and he did get out there, he did get votes, and he was successful in creating this bullshit system that we have right now, which is called superdelegates. Okay.
He did in 84 after losing. He comes in 88, comes in second to Michael Dukakis. They all of a sudden get Ron Brown as chair, change the rules when it came to superdelegates, change the rules when it came to proportional delegation versus winner take all. And so if you're a Bernie supporter, you're going to have to actually take the time to get in the party and then take over powerful positions and not hope somebody else do it. And so shouldn't you be saying to those folks, that's what your job should be, to do that?
Oh, absolutely, but the two aren't mutually exclusive. And this talking point that they didn't have.
Don't have the positions, you don't have the votes.
Yeah, correct. But my point is.
But we're only different on the policy. I mean, we're the Democratic Party practical on policy. There's not a fraction of the Democratic Party around policy.
One wants to break up the big banks, the other one doesn't. One actually tried to go after banks that defrauded people on their mortgages. The other one didn't. I mean, there's many policy differences.
But you have a man who's representing that with the vice chair. Isn't that going to make a difference in Keith Ellison?
Honestly, I mean, deputy chair, it seems a little more symbolic than anything else to me. I'm all for Keith Ellison being deputy chair, but really it's party operatives who are citing unity. If you're out in the country, like I am, if you're out in the country like I am, and you talk to thousands of people, there is no unity. This is operatives would like there to be unity, but there is a 50-50 split in the Democratic Party.
Well, I tell you what, if you want a 50-50 split, expect to lose again. But if you don't want to lose in 2018 and see Trump having a two-term, I say you better figure out how to get together real damn soon. Cornell Belcher, Jordan Charity, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
You know, second term, get it together.
Got to. Folks, again, your thoughts.
This is a huge problem for the Democrats. And the message you just gave your guest who was for Keith Ellison, you could give the same message to Tom Perez and the Democratic insiders. They can't win anything. On one hand, Ellison and Sanders Democrats can't figure out how to win.
Okay, but let's stop right there. First of all, and this is, I think, again, I'll keep making this point. And this is what you're also seeing. You said Sanders Democrats. He's not a Democrat. Now, no.
See, now this is where Roland gets, it gets to be bullshit. Yeah, Sanders is an independent, okay, but the Democrats are flocking to him, so they are Sanders, S-A-N-D-E-R-S, apostrophe, Sanders is Democrats. That's not saying that he's a Democrat. That's saying that he has a bunch of Democrats supporting him. That's just like Ronald Reagan's Democrats. It's the same thing. So Roland's full of shit when he's trying to make this distinction.
No, wait. One second. Bernie Sanders remains an independent in the United States Senate. So Bernie Sanders
Okay, and that was Lauren Victoria Burke saying, so what? And she's right, so what?
On the Democratic side, and then still said he was not going to join the party. Now, here's the piece here, okay? Bernie Sanders, folks, lost the nomination, lost the DNC chair. I'm going to say it again, Eugene. If you don't run for county and state, you will never be able to take over the party.
So as somebody that coming out of the 2012 election, 2013, got onto our Baltimore County Central Committee, and then a year and a half later, 2 years later, ended up as the vice chair of a state party. You don't change the party by one full swoop taking out a chairman. You change the party by changing the actual structure and infrastructure of the party. That takes you running. That takes you running for party office. That takes you running for local and county office.
We've seen that.
I came out of the Ron Paul revolution out of 2012. We know if there's anybody that knows what it feels like to be slapped down by the establishment.
For some reason, there's an obsession with Sanders, Bernie Sanders. They lost 1,000 seats.
So they still
Bernie Sanders
burn.
They lost 63 House seats because of OFA and Barack Obama's benign neglect before Bernie Sanders. Okay, when everybody was together, this president, the Democrat, did the bank bailout, agreed with the bank bailout, agreed with TPP, agreed with the Bush tax cuts. So this whole thing of Sanders isn't a Democrat.
No. But here's the deal, though. Well, the very same people who were saying they were backing Keith Ellison, they also loved Obama.
Yeah.
See, so hold up. The same people.
What are you talking about?
No, what I'm talking about is the very same people can't see. No, hold up, Lauren. Lauren. The very same people who are saying, oh yeah, Sanders is our guy and he's right on the issues. The same millennials were loving Obama.
Because that's the thing about Roland. See, it's like people can't see the light Okay, they can't realize they made a mistake and see somebody that they can switch over to that they believe in and on the issues. So, you know, he's saying the very same people that voted for Obama are the very same people that voted for Sanders. So now he's going to throw shade against them. No, there's a lot of people that voted for Obama that now turn around and voted for Trump, quiet as it's kept. So that argument is not holding water. People have the right, and often do, change their minds given the set of circumstances and the rhetoric that's rolling around. And Roland is sitting up there like, well, once you're in a certain camp, you got to stay there. No, that's bullshit. It's called learning, Roland.
So
Because
what?
if you, no.
The
because
very same
Lauren,
people who
look,
got
you
the
just
Democratic
said,
Party here in
Lauren,
again.
if you just said that Obama's position when it came to the bank bailout, when it came to TPP, when it came to all those different issues,
And those people lost 1,000 seats, Roland. Those people lost 1,000.
And that's the whole point. Those people lost 1,000 seats. So it's time, it should have been time for us to get rid of all of those people and to put new people in. That's her point, and he ain't hearing it.
and those people also lost
And you wanna put 'em in
no,
charge
no,
again?
Lauren.
They're in
Those
charge
people
again?
lost
What?
1,000 seats because what they did was they became a national party and ignored what happened on the
Right,
ground.
and they were in charge of that. They
I
were in
understand
charge of
that.
I
And
mean,
what I'm saying
the
is,
same people who effed up are
and
back
guess what?
again.
And this is the point.
And she's right. The same people that effed up, they put in charge again. See, Roland ain't listening. He's not hearing what she's saying, and she's 100% right.
And this is what I'm still saying.
You don't understand that?
If
the same
you,
people.
here's the deal.
People and
Let me say it again.
Obama's people.
Let me say it again.
Are in charge of the party
if
again.
you do not, let me be real clear. Let me be real clear. If you do not run for county committee,
Yep.
if you do not run for state committee,
Yep.
you cannot take over a party.
And you-
No, one
you
second.
think that Tom
No,
Perez
one
is
second.
gonna
What?
figure that out?
No.
You think Tom
Follow me here.
His biggest seat was city council in a blue state.
Follow me here,
Tom
Lauren.
Perez is gonna
Follow
do
me
that?
here, Lauren.
What evidence
And you
is
were
there of
DC
that?
committee. You were DC debate board
There is
chair.
no evidence that Tom Perez is gonna figure that out.
You know how the game works. If you want power, you must take power.
What's gonna
you
say-
don't.
what's
One
gonna-
second, Lauren. Lauren, 1 second. What you do not do. You don't sit back. You don't sit back and go, we don't like who's in charge. Can y'all please change?
You know what that was wrong. You know what that was.
Go ahead.
It's indivisible.
The Sanders-
Indivisible.
See, and Roland is, he's being a dumbass, okay? He is being an absolute dumbass because if people see, and that's why people have to have their eyes open. You don't, you have to hope, I guess you have to hope, that people are smart enough to realize that if you do the same thing over and over again, you're going to get the same result. If you put the same leadership, quote unquote, in place, you're going to get the same results, no matter how much bullshit that they spew out there trying to camouflage where they're coming from. And he's not hearing Lauren Victoria Burke when she's telling them that.
Go ahead, guys.
Sanders Democrats are saying more than that. They're saying that they can't take power. They want change. They don't want a power
Right.
share. They want leadership, and that the rules are, forgive the term, rigged against them. That's fair.
But Scott,
That's fair.
we have examples. We have examples
Yes.
in a number of states where they have actually taken control of
Exactly.
county and state.
And-
And what I'm saying is, you are not going to be able to think that you're going to take over the whole party in 3 months.
I don't think they think.
Roland is right, but what he's talking about is red states where there were more Republicans than Democrats, and what the Democrats had to do was they had to consolidate their power within small blocks and then expand out. They were backed off, such as in the state of North Carolina, through gerrymandering when that started occurring, okay? Now, with the courts deciding against the state of North Carolina obviously gerrymandered, new elections are coming up and new district lines are being drawn. That took them 10 years to get there, okay? This process can work a lot faster if people would just open their eyes and realize they don't want the same old establishment bullshit going on as far as the Democratic Party is concerned. So in one case, you're talking about one party or one group of voters of a certain party affiliation operating against another group of voters with the opposite party affiliation. In this case, you're talking about Democrats, all basically, well, have, let's say, call it 80% alignment on issues, that can't see the fact that the old leadership got them into the bullshit predicament, and they need new leadership to get them out, not the same old leadership that's going to keep digging the hole deeper and deeper.
That what I do, hold on, what I do think they believe, though, is that they need to reform and rebuild the Democratic Party in the image and as the Sanders Democrats, and be more progressive, more liberal, to go after Donald Trump. And if Tom Perez doesn't unify and power share with the Sanders Democrats, it doesn't matter whether they get 50-state strategy.
If the Sanders Democrats and the Sanders youth movement keeps going down this path, they're going to keep feeling the burn of these L's.
What they need to do is ignore the Democratic Party and listen to Indivisible, because Indivisible is about to save the Democratic Party from itself.
But I'm sorry, hold up. Last I checked. Hold up, I'm sorry. Last I checked.
Just like the TV.
Last I checked, Bernie Sanders was supposed to convert his campaign to a group called the Revolution. Will you please listen? You please listen. If the Bernie Sanders, you're not listening, Lauren. Lauren, you're not listening. You're not listening. No, Senator Bernie Sanders, with his mailing list and his apparatus, they were converting that into exactly what you just said.
The
entity that is not part of the party. And so if you have the apparatus and then you want to convert that, that's how you run candidates. That's how you raise money. All I'm saying is this here, as somebody who has taken over organizations, you don't do it by just yelling. You do it by getting in, and then you say, fine, we're going to take it over. That's how you take it over. Well, guess what? And it ain't going to happen over 2 months. I got to go to a break. When we come back, I do got to go right now because you done made your point. I got to go.
Yeah, see, but Roland, he is basically talking about a long game where you take over a party and it takes you like 6 to 8 years to take a party over. That's what he's talking about. What the Bernie Sanders wing is talking about is making a sea change, which is going to convert the party and get things rolling within approximately 1 to 2 years. So Roland is talking of that same old establishment bullshit. He can say whatever he wants, but he's talking establishment, and the Sanders wing is talking radical change. And radical change can occur overnight, okay, and without people having to run for office and take over the numbers. Radical change occurs when the people make a decision that this is bullshit and we're moving away from wherever the establishment is. That's what radical change is. Let me add this one little bit to this particular clip. And there's rumblings about Hillary thinking about running in 2020. If Hillary Clinton runs under the same system that we have as far as the superdelegates and the Clinton machine and its ability to raise money, and let's just for argument's sake say that Bernie Sanders, when he runs again, the outcome will be the same. Why? Because all of the establishment people are going to basically support Clinton. All of the big banks and everybody else is basically going to support Clinton. And there aren't enough people in the Democratic Party at this point that are smart enough to realize that she just can't win. But they would put her ass out there anyway. So, putting her ass out there would open her up. Obviously, the Benghazi shit is going to come back up. Her email is going to come back up. The Clinton Foundation is going to come back up. All of that crap is going to come back up. And the Republicans are going to run anybody, and anybody that they run against her will beat her ass. So that shoots a hole in your argument, okay, because the establishment, the insiders are there. And as long as they are too stupid to realize that she is flawed and cannot win a national election because of who supports her, where her dollars are coming from, and her straight out stupidity as far as running a campaign, which she's blown it twice. Once in the primaries in 2008 and again in 2016 in the general. No, people have to open their eyes and realize that a change of direction is needed. And you don't have to run and take over all these positions in order to be smart enough to realize that. Sorry, Roland, you missed it on this one.